afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Town of Vesuvius regular open meeting of council. Tuesday, January the 9th, 2024 in council chambers. Thank you all for attending. We can see all the people sitting in the audience have a smile on their face because they know they're getting money today, so that's a good thing.
Show me the money.
So we are assuming that Councillor Chung is okay. He's just coming in, so we'll just let him catch his breath. And we have Councillor Bennett online. He is on holiday, so welcome, Councillor Bennett. So first off, we need to do the approval of the agenda. And are there any late items?
No, there isn't.
Thank you very much. Could I have a motion, please, to approve the regular open agenda? Thank you very much, Councillor King, Councillor Bennett. All in favor? Thank you.
You're late. Where's your note?
We'll get it later. And next is the adoption of some minutes. That would be the regular open minutes of December the 12th, 2023. Could we have a motion to accept those, please? Councillor Puerto Rico? Councillor Chong, all in favor. Thank you. And then our first business today is the 2024 Community Services Grant check presentations. And Councillor Chong and Councillor King are both members of the committee, and so they will be presenting the checks. Thank you. Right out here. Okay. So we're very happy to, I think we have 21 different envelopes, Councillor King. And we will be calling people up. Please make sure that you look at the camera when you come up and get your check, so that the people that are at home and online can see what's happening too. All right, Councillor King, Councillor Chong, it's over to you.
First of all, I want to thank you very much for being here and all the work you volunteers do in our community. That's what really makes a great town, is the volunteers in the community. These are in alphabetical order. So first of all is
Desert Park Exhibition Society. Desert Valley Hospice Society. Desert Sun Counseling and Resource Center Society. Vesuvius Desert Society. Vesuvius Festival Society. Festivals.
I didn't see anyone.
The festival already outside the door.
yes, you said it, okay.
Can here, no?
Yeah.
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 Can?
Here we go. There we go.
There's a lot of traffic.
Thank you so much, you guys, and I really appreciate that you moved the date up to in the last part of the last year, so we get it early this year. Before it was in the first quarter of this year, so yeah, so I really appreciate that.
One second, gotta get a picture.
Oh, sorry, Carol.
She got the money, you're doing that.
Yeah.
Just thinking out of here. Lexius Sailing Club.
You know. Stay around up there.
Thank you. Vesuvius and District Arts Council. Vesuvius Lake Water Quality Society. Vesuvius Traditional Archery School. Let's use Elks Lodge and 4 through 6 and let's use Elks Senior Citizens Society.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's use like Paddle Club. Joni? Thanks so much. Thanks, Jim. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Let's use Music in the Park.
Good stuff. Thanks, buddy.
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I'm getting in between. All right. Hey, Jimmy.
Only Clint.
Let's use Airport Development Society. Portuguese Canadian Cultural Societies. Thank you. Run around barrel service.
There you go.
South Okanagan Smoking Bride Society.
Thank you.
Sun Bowl Figure Skating Club. And White Arts National Association.
I think Joe White Arts just called, they have a flu. So I wasn't sure if anybody was coming.
It will be, we'll make sure they get it.
For sure.
I can.
Thanks
yeah,
again.
For them.
Yeah.
I'm on the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, and it was nice to have all of the people here to accept the check, so well done, and thank you volunteers for what you do for this community. We all really appreciate it. Okay, we'll now go on to the next part of our agenda, and that is the water matters. We have a motion that was made on December the 12th of 2023. And the motion was put forward that council rescind adoption of the 5-year financial plan number 1386, 2023, and that the bylaw be returned to third reading. So that was the motion. I'm wondering if we could have a motion today. Councillor King, you're moving that council rescind adoption of the 5-year financial plan number 1386, 2023, and that the bylaw be returned to third reading.
Yes.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Federica, all in favor? And I believe that water council can vote on this as well. Thank you. So should we try that again? All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Next is the annual water report. And that is provided by our water superintendent, water utilities superintendent, and that would be Kelly McDonald. So thank you very much, Mr. McDonald. Go ahead.
So this is just a very brief overview. The details are on Sue's desk today. So well 3 was one of our best wells. And then in 2017, it started showing signs of manganese. And then by this year, it's up to, it increased 493%, so it's over to AO now. And well 1 has increased 1,340%, so they're deteriorating, our 2 best wells. And 4, 5, 6, and 8 have always shown it, and they regularly go over the your maximum limit. And three and one historically been our best wells, but now they're showing signs, so almost all our wells have manganese now. So that was, we pulled well 3 last month, and that's what we found right in the header pipe. So at the end of the slideshow, there's a video that shows that used to be our second best well. So, sorry, the futility, it shows the futility of trying to flush because it's coming out 650 gallons per minute right there. So if you tried to flush and scour the lines, we couldn't even reach the velocity to remove that sludge. Okay. So there's our manganese concentrations throughout the year. As you see, 5, 8, and 4 are over all the time pretty much. So the red is the health limit and the black is the aesthetic limit.
Can you explain what those two things mean, the health?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the health limit is the maximum that interior health that people should consume. They don't like, you're not supposed to go over that, so I'll explain later how we avoid going over that. And the aesthetic is where it starts to stain clothing, and it's the point where you can actually see it in your water.
Thank you.
So in anticipation of our new treatment plant, we tested various parameters that aren't mandated by interior health, just to see because they affect treatment options. So we checked ammonia, total organic carbon, lithium, and then we checked the chlorine demand that the well water needs before you can have breakpoint. So ammonia in the water creates a high oxidant demand and decreases disinfection efficiency. The reaction between ammonia and chlorine is very rapid, and ammonia may negatively affect the removal of organic and inorganic compounds such as iron, manganese, and arsenic by reducing chlorine's availability for oxidization. So it makes treatment options more difficult. Removal of ammonia in our well water is complicated by the presence of organic carbon. Chlorine needs to oxidize the ammonia and remove it, which will cause high chlorine byproducts when mixed with the TLC, the organic carbon. So it takes 7 times the amount of chlorine to negate 1 part ammonia. So it has to be removed before the manganese and iron. And we didn't know that the wells had ammonia until this year, so it's made it a lot more complicated. Free ammonia enters the distribution system and it can also cause nitrification, so it potentially increases nitrate and nitrates, which cause cancer. So these have to be limited to 0.1 milligrams a liter and preferably below 0.05 for health recommendations. There's our wells. That red line is the maximum recommended level. So you see 4 and 5 are substantially higher. And they're actually the lake water had no ammonia. Just a side note. So our aquifers are quite polluted.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah,
Is it all right? Okay, can I just ask, you said that you hadn't noticed that there was ammonia in there and, until this year. Is that more sophisticated tests or why wasn't that picked up for you?
No, interior health does not mandate, and they don't even expect you to test for ammonia because well water generally in BC, there's no other example, I don't think, in BC of ammonia in well water. So we did it just so that we could see before we spent money on a treatment option if it was there, and sure enough it was there in high concentration. So
Go ahead, Councillor Chong.
Thank you. Just because those parameters aren't currently interior health requirement, is it likely that in the future it may be?
So ammonia and organic carbon are indirect pollutants, so they themselves, ammonia does cause health effects, but they aren't well studied. But the problem with those two contaminants is they increase your chlorine demand, and then the chlorine demand creates byproducts, which do cause cancer. So that's the juggling act.
So this was because you were doing more sophisticated testing in order to look at the water treatment plant.
Yes,
Sort of the, is that
we
what?
figured before any investments are made, we should really go beyond, above and beyond, so.
Okay,
Oh, and our two new wells, well 9 and 10, have all of that stuff, so.
thank you.
Yeah. So I kind of explained some of this. The causes of this are industrial and agricultural developments. So our wells are DUDs, so they're, over the years, it's been proven now definitively that they've been contaminated possibly by irrigation or farming in the past. So this could be the reason why there's so much ammonia and carbon in the water. So organic carbon is being considered, actually to answer Johnny's question, it is being considered to possibly be regulated in the future. We test our chlorine byproducts regularly just to make sure we juggle the wells. So we blend the wells to keep our byproducts down, and then instead of trying to breakpoint chlorinate them, we just add chlorine at various spots to keep a residual, to keep the bacteria down. So it's quite a lot labor intensive job to keep the water safe. Okay. Here's your organic carbon. So that's your recommended maximum for raw. So we're over on 4, 5, 1, and 8. And there's the recommended for treated. So they don't like it to be past 2 by the time it's gone through the treatment plant. So there's our nitrates. If it's above 2, they say that it's been anthropomorphic, so human caused. So well 3 and 1 have it's most likely was caused by irrigation and farming. But we don't get the map for them, so. And lithium is a new substance that the EPA is starting to regulate. And in our wells, we actually have quite a bit of lithium, that's the recommended limit. And it's most likely caused by natural sources, so. There's the different types of organic carbon. So inorganic, we didn't test for. Organic is the one it's showing, and purgeable is stuff that can be filtered out, the bigger stuff. Most of ours was dissolved and non-purgeable, so very small pieces. So if we actually hit breakpoint chlorination, that's what our byproducts would be. So there's your maximum acceptable. So 5 and 8 would be well over the recommended health limit. And then there's the other type. That's haloacidic acids, and that is trihalomethanes. So, and that's our sampling. So we manage by juggling well use and flow in our system, and being careful how we chlorinate. We manage to keep it under the health limit, but it's still, there is some in there. So we do over 350 scheduled domestic bacteriological tests in 2023. We do full comprehensive, so that's your minerals as well as your bacteriological, your chemical parameters. We also perform many tests just to make sure we're blending properly through the system. So sometimes it's hard to chase out that brown water because we're trying to avoid byproducts, which is much worse. Okay. So we had to resubmit because we found out we had ammonia and organic carbon in our water, so our distribution difficulty level went up to a level 3 and level 3 treatment this year, so. Which makes it much harder to get operators. So here's a demand, was as expected, peaked in July, the 24th. And we went under stage 2 on the 16th of June. And it was rescinded October 1st, as you know. And so bylaws did a good job. They went out at night, they tried their best, but people still were kind of not listening. So we had a few close calls during the summer. Yeah, excellent. So there, people, this kind of proves that it isn't tourist. So there's your wastewater flow. There's a slight bump in July, but this pretty much, you can infer from this that it's irrigation. So we go, our water use goes way up in June, July, but our wastewater just barely goes up. That was one of the, this is a typical night. So it's kind of hard to read this, but basically your red is your use. So there's points between 12 and 5 a.m. where we're running at a deficit that much, where if it would continue, our reservoirs would go dry, but luckily that hasn't happened yet. That's why we do the restrictions. Okay. So July 23rd. Okay, that was our most use. So we were consuming 313 liters per second, but our maximum we could produce is 245. So we actually went down 1.2 million liters. And so the worrisome part about this is the mechanical failure possibility or the firefighting. If something like that had happened during those times, then for instance, the Eagle Bluff wildfire could have been catastrophic. So next.
The Eagle Bluff wildfire happened a week later. Are you saying that because that was?
Oh, no, that happens every night.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a nightly occurrence. And yeah.
so we are fortunate that
We
we
are
didn't run out
fortunate.
during the fire?
So what happened during the fire is David and Rich got evacuated, and so they didn't have a chance to turn their sprinklers off. So just at the point we had everything running maximum, we had our operators running around, and then just at the point where it was starting to dive more than we could do, I went out there to warn Corey, and they just finished using the pumper truck, so we got lucky.
Just the wind changed and things have not. Thank you.
So we actually increased, even though our wastewater went down this year because of the drop in tourism, our water increased 7.4% over last year, our use, which is very high for a single year. So we were averaging 1,500 liters per person. That's assuming we have 8,000 people in town, which is very generous. So our yearly average is 826 liters a day per person, and the Canada average is 329, to put it in perspective. Next. Those are wells. So we favored well 3 and well 1 because they used to be our cleanest wells. Well 3 is getting to the point where it's almost at the health limit. So you'll see we're gonna have to juggle the wells around the world.
Yeah.
But that's the percentage use of water from each well source. So this is what I just said about the water. We're upgrading our online monitoring system. So during the fire, our server was still at the shop, and the fire came within 100 meters of the shop, and if it had hit that, it would have changed the whole dynamics. So we've been upgrading, and it's now on a server in Kelowna, so we have backup. So we're gonna work on getting a secondary. It goes over cell lines right now, but we're gonna try and get a secondary server like Starlink or something. So So once I've been, well, me and Jared have been nagging UBC since about June to come down and do a pilot study once we found out about pneumonia. So that's running right now. And we have well 4 providing most of our water right now, which is why it's been kind of browner than usual in the winter. That's so that they can test 24 hours a day the worst well. So that's operating right now. And it should be here, it'll probably be till the end of February, so.
So that's why the people along Lake Shore.
Usually well 3, we had well 3 on and it acted like a buffer, so I kept well 4 going up to the reservoirs. And now that we have well 3 pulled right now, so they're getting much lower quality water than usual on the east side. So. Which will probably happen in the next 5 years anyway, at the deterioration rate of well 3.
Is well 3 has been pulled because you are,
You have to, you're supposed to pull and rebuild wells, pumps and every about 5 years, and we're quite a ways behind. So I got well 3 folks, it's our main pump and it's the off season, so I really should get that one checked.
so how long does that take and when will it be back on?
So it's at a machine shop right now, getting rebalanced and the motor's getting rewound, so they promised me mid-March. So they better get it here by mid-March or we're in trouble. So this year I had the 2 systems separated with Superior Health and the Environmental Operator Certification Program. So the irrigation system is now its own entity. It's rated at level 2, and the reason we did this is I can't guarantee its safety, and I feel even if we switch to municipal water, I'd have to leave it on a boil of water, and Interior Health agreed. So instead of polluting it with the manganese and iron from our well water, we thought we'll just leave it. We have a pump running at station 8. So that houses at, and the next slide. So some houses will be permanently on boil water, unfortunately. So that wasn't done in the past, but I feel that just running well water through those pipes is not making it safe. So leave it on lake water for now. Oh, and irrigation District 9 is completely turned off, which we've never done before. So. Yeah. And isolated. So irrigation went down too, like wastewater, and it's because of the transition to vineyards. So it's been steadily going down since the early 2000s because vineyards use a lot less water. Okay. Your 2 charts, that's 2023 and that's 2022. So it also is more steady because of vineyards. They're kind of coming on and off at the same time. So those are the coliform hits in the irrigation system. The domestic had 0 hits. So this is to be expected because it's raw lake water. So coliforms are indicator organisms, shown in the next slide. What you're watching for is back-to-back hits in the same area, which would mean we'd have to, something might be going on in the system. So coliforms in themselves are not bad, fecal coliforms are bad. But they're monitoring organisms, so if you see them in 10% of your samples or consecutive samples in the same site, then something is probably going on with your system. And when we did cameraing of the lake intakes, we actually saw fish in the contact tanks, so the lake intakes have completely deteriorated. Yeah. So that would probably explain the coliforms. And then this last one is just a video showing how much slime is on this place, manganese and iron residue. That's right out of the header pipe from well 3, which used to be our best well.
That's it. That was it.
And online is a much more in-depth version of that. It was just an overview, but it's kind of an idea.
So thank you very much, Kelly. This was a very interesting report to read, and I know you've shown most of the slides there. And I certainly appreciate getting all that information. I think it's helpful not only to us, but to everybody that's in systems 8 and 9 and in the town, because we all pay for water. Anybody else? Go ahead, Mr. John.
Thank you. I just want to clarify what haloacetic acids and trihalomethanes, they are known carcinogens.
Yes, proven, and they have a maximum that by law legislated maximum amount that in drinking water is allowed. So, and in my opinion, it's been high. I think I have a feeling they're going to lower that maximum contaminant.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Thank you. We appreciate that. Could I please have a motion to receive the 2023 annual water report for as information? Councillor Appleby, Councillor Shaw, all in favor. Thank you very much. Okay, next is staff reports, and this one is the Regional District of Okanagan and Milcomine bylaw referral, so I'll turn it over to Ms. Curtis.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. So this report is seeking council direction in order for administration to respond to the regional district's bylaw referral for regulating private utilities. So that's their file X 2023.011 zone. The regional district is proposing to regulate private water and utility systems within the regional district, including those operated by businesses or stratas corporations in favor of publicly operated utility systems. This proposed change will require that the following bylaws be amended. So these are regional district bylaws. Electoral A, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I official community plans bylaws to include policies discouraging the creation of private utility systems. The Okanagan Valley Electoral A Area G and Electoral Area H zoning bylaws to include definitions of community water systems and community sewer systems. Subdivision servicing bylaw number 2900/2024 to replace the definitions for community water system and community sewer system. And the development procedure bylaws number 2500/2011 to introduce requirements for the submission of a utility conditions assessment to support development variance permit applications, proposing to vary private utility regulations. So it has been the regional district's experience that system owners often find they no longer have the financial ability or the technical expertise required to meet current regulations. By the time private or nonprofit utilities approaches the regional district to acquire water or wastewater systems, the infrastructure is often undersized, in disrepair, in contravention of provincial standards, or a combination. For these reasons, the regional district has found a strong argument to regulate in favor of publicly operated utility systems going forward versus those operated by business or strata corporations. Additional information can be found on the regional district's website. So our options provided to the town by the regional district are to say are affected, our approval recommended subject to conditions. Our approvals recommended for the following reasons, or approval not recommended for the following reasons. Administration is recommending that council direct administration to respond with our interest as affected.
Thank you very much. I do sit at the regional district table, and many of these water systems have come forward they're not within municipalities, they are in areas, regional electoral areas. And they've been put in because a subdivision has been put in somewhere, and then they find that they haven't got the money to upkeep them or look after them, and it's too expensive. And so they come to the regional district and say, we'd like you to take them over. And so the concern is that usually they're at a very low point when the regional district is asked to take them over. So they're having to make this recommendation that that you do not put in a private water utility system, that you need to be have a publicly operated one which has regulations and is easier to manage. So it's been common over the years that I've been at the regional district that these systems have come forward and been asked at the last moment to be taken over, so people have water. So that's why. So, council, does anyone have a motion here, a recommendation?
On November 1.
Right, that the council direct administration to respond as follows: interests unaffected by the bylaw. Yeah, who's seconding this? Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Curtis, and you're on to the next one. This is a regional district voting on Similkameen bylaw referral subdivision servicing bylaw review. Okay, please.
Thank you once again, Mayor McCartney. This report is seeking council direction to respond to RUS bylaw referral for the subdivision servicing bylaw number X 2023.001 SDS. So the regional district is currently reviewing their subdivision servicing bylaw from 2002 with the intent of ensuring that their bylaw contains up-to-date servicing standards, current engineering best practices, and to improve the clarity for the public. So the regional district is proposing to repeal and replace their current subdivision servicing bylaw with the subdivision servicing bylaw number 2900. Additional information can be found on their website. And once again, we've been provided with 4 options. We can respond with interests unaffected, the approval recommended subject to conditions, approval recommended for the following reasons, or approval not recommended for the following reasons. So administration is recommending that we respond to the bylaw referral with approval recommended subject to the notation that any property located within the regional district connecting to the town of Osoyoos water and or sewer systems would require approval from the town of Osoyoos. Any design standards and or use of the town of Osoyoos water or sewer systems would need to be approved by the town of Osoyoos.
Thank you. Councilor John?
Thank you. Would it be prudent to add fire hydrant system in with water and sewer system approval with the town of the cities?
Would you be able to answer that?
Through the chair, Councilor John, I'll try my best. Usually water system business fire hydrants, the ability to regulate that. Beyond that would probably be a fire suppression question for fire chief.
Would you like to make that recommendation that we check with the fire chief before going forward with this?
I think that would be prudent.
Okay,
Just to check every box. And
I got a question.
yes. All right, so can that be just added to Ms. Curtis or Mr. Risling? Is that Ms. Curtis's job to do that, or would you be taking that on, or how would that happen?
Your worship, maybe one of the things that we could do, because this is a recommendation, within the recommendation right now, just add something referencing fire hydrants that the town of Suites would be involved with it, and at the end of the day, it's RDS goes forward, if we give a blanket, it's not an issue, we can do so. So I think we add it here for now. It's just cautionary notes, and in the future, if we say, nope, you don't need to touch base with us, fine, we leave a letter on file, or the big protective clause.
So do we need to add anything to the recommended motion, or is that?
Because it would have to come to the town of Vesuvius prior to approval, that the fire department is part of the town. So that would be one of our internal referral processes, that it would go to the fire department for their approval prior to it being approved. Is that-
My only concern is they do have it as a separate point, and although it is looped in technically with water system. I just want to make sure we have, like, that Fire Chief Courtmeyer is satisfied with the fire hydrant system standards. So could we just add it in with the water and sewer system, well, for design standards?
And the fire hydrant system, right, after water and sewer. Would that be all right? Just adding that into the motion there?
Yeah.
When you're ready, Mrs. Robinson, could you read it back to us, please? And we move on and come back to this, is that, or are you ready? Okay.
Approval recommended, subject to the notation that any property located within the RDOS connecting to the town of Vesuvius water or sewer systems would require approval from the town of Vesuvius. Any design standards and or use of the town of Vesuvius water or sewer systems would need to be approved by the town of Vesuvius, and fire hydrant systems approved by the town of Vesuvius. We just have it.
Okay, so it's been moved, seconded, Councilor Poderisa. Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
I just, Mr. Bernstein, if they had a big development here next door and they come to us for water and we have not much water, then we say no to them, what happens? In your guess,
Through the chair to Councilor King, at this point, the development doesn't go forward. They either have to look at doing a private water system, which they are now forbidding, or get in the Arctic West, do that, put in a public system. They are rated costs and needs of the Arctic West. We can't provide them with water. So large developments within the Arctic West will be limited with that procurement.
so we have the power over them for development if they need our water.
Indirectly, we do have the ability to manage development north and south of town, that want to connect to our water systems.
So we built up a better relationship with them a few years ago. They built stuff on our borders and we knew nothing about it. So are we building up a better relationship with Airdrie, Tom?
I mean, from a large development perspective with what they're proposing, yes, they would actually have to be in agree with us a little bit more and actually have the conversations with the town prior to.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, the recommendation has read, all in favor. Thank you very much, that's, yeah, Counselor, thank you. Thank you for that. Next is Mr. Brownstein, the electric vehicle charging stations rate structure.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a report before you in regards to the two charging stations that are currently at Gyro Park. These two charging stations have been provided to the community free of charge since installation in 2012. Administration is recommending that we actually start to charge a fee to connect to them moving forward. There are multiple options in regards to the fee structures for these units. City of Invictus, for instance, charges $2 per hour for the, or charges nothing for the first 2 hours and then $2 an hour after that. The District of Peachland actually charges 2 hours for the first 2 hours and $4 an hour after that to incentivize people moving on. I looked at comparisons of both Fortis BC and BC Hydro, and they come in at roughly $1.8 per hour to facilitate charging. So there are some revenues that are potential. One thing of note is if we do go to a revenue-based charging system, I can see our usage go down from the previously seen. So the numbers that are provided in the report are as of 2023 and usage as of 2023. The recommendation before council is that we move forward with a similar avenue as the city of Invictus and charging provided for a few hours is free. And the remaining hours at $2 per hour as we're connected.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Counselor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. With our two charging stations at Gyro, are they comparable with the 6 out behind us here in the building?
Through the chair, Councilor King, no. The ones down at Gyro are like first generation level 2 chargers. They're very slow. They are currently rated at 6 to 7 kilowatts per hour. The ones in the Tesla site, the Tesla ones themselves are up to 250 kilowatts per hour. And the level 3 chargers, I believe, can charge up to 150 kilowatts per hour. So they're considered rapid chargers are slow chargers. So your charge time over here is less than an hour. Charge time at the Gyro can be upwards.
So we do have a report on how much electricity we give away last year.
So last year, with the current commercial rates, we subsidized, I believe it was $11 electricity.
And you're aware that Fortis just checked the rates up 12% as of the first of this month?
Yes, I think that's the thing.
Can I just point out that these charging stations were put in back in 2012, and I had just been elected to council. The reason for us, we were one of the first to put in charging stations, and it was to provide the electric charging station as a green promotional service. I do remember we had quite a conversation about whether we should continue having them as just a promotion and free, or whether we should start charging for them. And I see that there is a motion in here, which I seconded at the time, that that we do this for, I think it was to be brought back with a view to looking at the fees again in the 2015 budgetary discussion, so a couple of years later. It was obviously not brought back at that time, and so it's continued on this way. So I'm glad that it has been brought back and that we can look at it, and quite frankly, I think that we provide 2 hours of free charging is true to providing this as a green service, and that we charge after that. So I'm certainly in favor of it. And I should point out that that Osoyoos got an award last year national award, and I don't remember where it came from, but we have the most charging stations per capita in Canada. So that was interesting to know, and I do know that the ones out here, I think there's 6 Tesla and 3. And they're not, I've never seen it full, but there's often you go by and there's people in there doing that. Part of the reason that we were happy to have a charging station that would take a couple of hours was we thought if people had to pull their car in and charge their car for 4 hours, they would go shopping and go somewhere and have a meal. The fast charging stations now mean that you can do it pretty quickly and be on your way again. So there's 2 points of view on this one. So thank you. I will look to council for a recommendation. Councillor Chong.
Thank you. Just a question, what's the expected service life for these 2 charging stations?
Through the chair, Councilor Chung, that is a damn good question, and I do not have a damn good answer for you. With the way technology changing these days, the ones behind us could be obsolete in 3 years. It all depends on what the EV system, EV thing starts to do. I'm assuming with the drive from federal government, both American and Canadian, is these things are gonna have to be like half-hour chargers at most. Probably down to like 15 minutes, they keep viable. So life expectancy of those chargers down there, they probably already exceeded their life expectancy. It should be replaced probably within the next 2 to 3 years.
So would that be our job to replace them or?
Yes, Your Worship, that would be our responsibility. They are now under the ownership of the government.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Can Tesla charge down there or just normal current?
I do not, through the chair, Councilor, I do not believe so. Tesla has a proprietary charging plug, and those are not part of the proprietary charging system.
So I believe they've come up with some type of adapter.
I think there's talk of that they were looking to build adapters for all the different charging heads, but I'm not an EV expert, but it is magic.
Okay, is there somebody who'd like to make a motion here, recommendation?
Option 1.
Okay. That the first 2 hours of charging be free and that the subsequent charging time be at a rate of $2 per hour. Is there a second? Thank you, Councillor Chung. Any other questions? All in favor? Thank you, everyone. Okay with that, thank you. And next is the Desert Sun Counseling lease. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before for you is a lease agreement to enter into a lease agreement with Desert Sun Counseling and Resource Center for a 3-year term commencing on January the 10th, tomorrow, at an initial rate of $850 per month, and that the town signatories be authorized to sign the agreement. This came to council on December the 12th, and following the approval to move forward, it was advertised in 2 consecutive editions of the local paper, our local board, and we're bringing this forward now for final approval.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions, concerns? Okay, this was discussed at the December the 12th meeting, so we're familiar with it. So someone would like to make a recommendation? Councillor Federica?
Thank you, Richard. Move on to 1, the right this administration of least the portions identified in.
Thank you. And Councillor King is seconding that. Any other concerns? All in favor? For Bennett as well, I'm checking with you. Thank you. All right, next is the Mr. Davis again. This is the Lake Kasuya Sailing Club lease.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, this was a lease that was brought forward to council on December the 12th. Following that, we are bringing this back for final approval, and it's to go into a 10-year term with the Lake Kasuya Sailing Club for the actual use of their building for $1 a year, and that the town signatory will be authorized to sign the agreement. This was again advertised for 2 consecutive weeks, and posted on our local posting board.
Thank you. I just had a question about this. When I looked through the lease here, I didn't see anything about parking. Has that, or have I missed it? I'm just wondering if that was discussed at all.
Yes, it was, and we do have parking down there on both sides of the building. Parking is available, during the time and the days that they need. They just need extra parking on Sundays for their meetings.
And are they able to get that down there, or they have to take their chances with everybody else that might be out in a boat?
That is correct.
Okay. Has that been a problem or a concern? Have they brought that up as a concern?
Yes, for sure they do.
And they understand that there's probably not anything more
Very good.
offered, yes, for sure. Okay. Council, what is your pleasure on this one? Councilor King? Thank you. Mr. Seconder for that, thank you. Councilor Puerto Rico? All in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. And Mr. Ridley, you're going to talk to us about modernized emergency management